Ladies and gentlemen, 10 days of racing have gone by, and it all comes down to this. Welcome to the finals of the 4th Custom Mail-In Tournament. For our first group, we will see Rebel Racer, Dex Hendricks, Killa Kowalski, and Arlo. Now to this group, one of them is undefeated, that being Dex Hendricks, representing Blue Line Racing, who has been an absolute beast in these tournaments. In fact, I think in terms of big tournaments, not including the drag race ones, they have won the last 3 in a row. And based on how they're performing here, they could easily win a 4th, as they rocket in front of everybody else, leaving everyone in the dust, heading towards the finish line. No contest by anyone else. And they're staying almost completely off the walls, and they finish with a 16.60. The fastest time is also held by Dex with a 16.25. So far, even they haven't been able to match that, but they have gotten pretty close. Yeah, they have the fastest time, and they are one of 2 racers remaining in this entire tournament that have not lost a single race yet. The other being Uncle Fokker. This is all based on the notes I have written down, so I apologize if I have something incorrectly. But for now, everyone finished in front of that clown car, so they'll all get points. If you're tuning in for the first time, I recommend starting from the beginning, but just in case, with that clown car being thrown into the mix, if you finish behind it, then you still won't get points, regardless of whether or not you actually cross the finish line. But so far in this set, no one has fallen behind it, so they all got points. But for now, Dex Hendricks, looking to stay in front, they trigger that clown car, and they actually did not get shaken up. We've seen a lot of racers around the spot where that clown car gets triggered, gets shaken up, but not so much Dex Hendricks this time around, heading towards the final straightaway. And they spin out just a little bit, but they correct themselves and cross the finish line in first yet again. And here comes the clown car, and we have one non-finisher, it seems. That is definitely not where you want to be right now, and that looks like it is Killa Kowalski, who has been in a bit of a redemption arc in this tournament and got all the way to the top 8. That is definitely a lot better than an early exit from a previous tournament, so they can at least rest knowing they improved. But they do have some major competition to deal with in this set here, so they are definitely not out of the woods. Dex Hendricks keeps getting really close. In fact, I want to say if he stayed straight before crossing the finish line there, he might have been able to break that record. Even if he didn't, it would have been closer than that. But now Dex is just one win away from making it to the top 4, the last group that will run. It's just a matter of who will join him. So far, Rebel and Arlo are in contention for that second spot, tied with 5 points apiece. So as long as they can move on, they will have another shot at taking down Dex Hendricks, who is more than likely going to move on unless something disastrous happens. Anytime they're pulling away, it has been almost impossible for anyone to catch up to them. They approach the final turn, heading towards the finish line, going diagonal once again, but they quickly correct it just as quickly as they veered off to the side. And this time around, everyone is able to finish in front of the clown car. I don't know if we ever fully settled on what that clown car should be called, but I've been calling it the clown car for most of the time. Part of me wants to think that clown car is driven by the Joker, because we all know how much he loves to cause chaos, and this tournament has definitely had its chaotic moments. But now with that 3rd consecutive win, Dex Hendricks is automatically going to be in the final 4. And after that race, Rebel Racer has an edge over Arlo. But just because he has that lead does not mean he'll hold on to it. He needs to stay in front of Arlo in order to move on with Dex to get a possible chance at the overall victory. But so far, Dex Hendricks launching his way forward yet again. It looked like his left side popped up for just a moment, but he does not seem fazed by it at all. Heading towards the finish line one more time, no one anywhere close. He has not been able to break his own record yet, and still will not, although I think that's the closest he's gotten in a long time. Being just shy of it by 0.02. Meanwhile, it looks like he might be the only one who finished. Rebel Racer in the final straightaway, but somehow stopped in the middle of it. Whereas Killa is having a stare down with the clown car. Although that does beg the question, where was Arlo? I kind of lost track of him in all that commotion. If he actually did finish, I think that little traffic jam causing Rebel Racer to stop was exactly the break he needed. It looks like there's Arlo. He will finish. And since Rebel Racer didn't, that means Arlo got a lucky break and is now moving on alongside Dex Hendricks to the final four. Not the way Rebel Racer wanted to go out, I'm sure of it, but that was a very solid effort. And now for the second group, Issa Khan, Big Cat, Numbskull, and Uncle Fokker. All four I've seen people rooting for in the comments either in this tournament or previous ones. And so far, Uncle Fokker is the only other remaining undefeated racer. So we'll see if that stays true going up against the likes of Issa Khan, Numbskull, and Big Cat. So far, Uncle Fokker is in the lead, but he has Issa just hot on his tail. And that gap is getting smaller and smaller as they head towards the finish line. Here comes Issa, but he was blocked by Uncle Fokker. So Uncle Fokker stays undefeated, at least for now. But Issa Khan is breathing down his neck. Meanwhile, Big Cat ends up going in reverse. And I believe all four races did finish. Makes you wonder where the clown car is. In some of the more recent days of the tournament, the clown car has actually not been doing so well. It could be just because they've raced more than anyone else in this entire tournament. Because they're not technically part of it, they're just there to throw a wrench into things. So they've been in every race. They could be exhausted by this point. Absolutely worn down in every possible meaning of the phrase. But look how close that was. Issa Khan is not going to make it easy for Uncle Fokker. And Numbskull, as good as they are, they have two Titans that finished a little bit before they did. So they definitely need to pick up the pace. Big Cat probably didn't even want to look at who was in front of him, given how they finished. Three races left before the final four. And things are looking pretty good for Uncle Fokker and Issa Khan for the moment. As the lane split, those two are in the lead. Or in the top two, I should say. Although Numbskull seemed to actually be side by side with Issa for just a moment, but as the lanes come back together, Issa Khan actually ends up going backwards after spinning out, and that could be something that Numbskull needed in order to pass them, but they are still a bit behind, while Uncle Fokker takes a bit of a lead with no one else in sight, and they finish in first. And we have a three-way contention for the second place position. And given that that came out of nowhere, I'm not sure who actually had it. Somehow, the other three races caught up to each other, and they were practically fighting almost literally with their fists to see who would grab second place. We're going to have to double check the replay because that was unexpected for sure. You don't often see races get that close. It looked like Isakan had it. Did they hold on to it? I'm not sure. It looked like Big Cat might have actually stolen it from them. Because Isakan was occupied. Yeah, Big Cat actually got second place. Isakan was so occupied trying to block Numbskull that Big Cat saw an opportunity and took it. That just made things very interesting. Uncle Fokker is not fazed too much by it, but Isakan is now holding their breath, as is all their fans, I'm sure of it. But in this race, Uncle Fokker is actually being hunted down by Numbskull, who's trying to find his way around him, but Uncle Fokker pulled off a successful block, causing Numbskull to lose some momentum, but is quickly picking it back up, trying to pass Uncle Fokker, could not quite do it. And Isakan finishes in third, while Big Cat, who got a surprising second place finish, finished in fourth that time. So I'm willing to bet that the second place points just got a lot closer. Uncle Fokker, meanwhile, still undefeated, 3 consecutive victories, meaning they have just taken the third spot in the final 4, leaving only 1 open. Will it be taken by Big Cat, will it be taken by Numbskull, or will it be taken by Isakan? So far the points are spread out almost evenly. I think Isakan still has an edge though, because Numbskull has 6, Big Cat has 5, Isakan has 7. It is still very much anyone's game. Meanwhile, Uncle Fokker is just trying to stay undefeated now as they go into the final 4 alongside Dex Hendricks. So far in second place it is Isakan, but here comes Numbskull around that turn, trying to get a miracle, and they are butting heads with Isakan right now. But Uncle Fokker, looking to stay undefeated, skids a little bit, but straightens out and finishes in first, and Isakan finishes in second. Numbskull made it very, very close. But it will be Isakan taking the 4th and final spot in the final set of racers. Look at this, all 4 of them were pretty much off camera by the time the clown car even got down the ramp. You would definitely see early on the clown car overtake a lot of people, but given that these have been some of the fastest racers in this tournament, they made it a lot more difficult for the clown car to make anything happen. But it is Isakan and Uncle Fokker, and now the final group. This is where it'll all be decided. Will Dex Hendricks, aka Blue Line, get a 4th tournament win in a row, or will somebody finally take them down? So far, Dex Hendricks does have that lead, but these are the best of the best, so they cannot let their guard down for even a single moment. That being said, they do have a big lead over everybody else, who are side by side with each other practically, if not just forming a train back there. Meanwhile, Dex Hendricks coasts along the front, finishing with a 16.08. That is the new fastest time in this tournament. So they broke their own record, almost breaking 16 seconds. I feel like if they had more time, that would definitely be possible to break 16 seconds, but they would need an almost flawless run to make that happen. And given that usually they get shaken up or spun around or something, that is very difficult to do. But Dex Hendricks, Blue Line Racing, is just 3 wins away from staying undefeated, 2 wins away from winning the entire tournament and staying on top of the world. 3 races left. Possibly just 2 more for Dex Hendricks to claim victory. They do have the slight edge for now as the lanes split. it looked like Arlo was able to get a slight edge over him as the lanes had split, but they quickly lose it. And Uncle Fokker tried to shake up Dex Hendricks, but was unsuccessful. Meanwhile, Arlo nudges them forward, trying to see if anybody can stop Dex. So far, no one has been able to in any stage of this tournament, and that's still holding true now. As they finish with a 16.86, that looks like this time. And Isa Khan almost didn't finish in front of the clown car, but managed to find their way around them. And they were going back and forth in a zigzag motion for just a moment there. These races can be absolutely dangerous, and considering these are the fastest in the entire tournament, when counting up their points and the fact that they're here, shows just how dangerous these races can be. Because some of them, they easily were able to get wins and progress, but now they have to go up against some of the most difficult opponents in this tournament. But for Dex Hendricks, it just doesn't seem like they have much contention. They have to slip up here. Dex Hendricks is one race away, possibly, from being the ultimate winner. If they can finish in first here, it all goes to them. The title for fastest time, undefeated, and the overall winner. By pulling that off, they could be a hat-trick winner, which is not very common, but I believe they have done it before. They do have some contention by Uncle Fokker this time around, but there was a slight bump causing Uncle Fokker to slow down, and Dex Hendricks will cross the finish line, so they will be your overall winner. Dex Hendricks is this tournament's victor, meaning that Blue Line Racing has won 4 big tournaments in a row. They are an absolute titan in these big tournaments, and no one has been able to stop them for the longest time. And now they just have one race to go, and they still have the record for the fastest time in this tournament. And now they're the overall winner. If they can finish in first in this next race, they will have pulled off the hat trick. Undefeated, fastest time, and overall winner. So now this is just a victory lap for Dex Hendricks. They're looking to pull off the hat trick. These other 3 racers have been making it interesting, at least, albeit not too difficult for Dex. But this is the final race of the tournament right here, and so far Dex Hendricks still has that lead. I don't think anyone's ever passed them in a single race in this tournament. And while racers have gotten close, and even if they were successful, Dex Hendricks was able to pull it off, pulling back in front of them, and it looks like they'll pull off the hat trick. Dex Hendricks is your triple, if you want to consider it, a quadruple crown winner. I know that's a different sport, but you get my drift. Blue Line Racing, 4 tournaments in a row, undefeated, fastest time. It just seems like nothing can stop them now. Definitely not in this tournament. So now we'll have to see what happens in a future tournament when and if Blue Line decides to participate once again. A valiant effort by all these racers, and the clown car finishes in dead last. But there's your overall standings. Dex Hendricks finishes in first, Uncle Fokker gets the silver, Arlo gets the bronze, Isa Khan falls just short, but they finished in the top 4 of the entire tournament. Congratulations to Blue Line Racing for a 4th consecutive tournament victory. Thank you all so much for watching. See you for the next one.